Hello to all my lovely friends, a long time and no see. How have you guys been? And for those of you that don't know me and you're new here, my name is Crissanna, and if you're an oldie, welcome back. And I do apologize for not being consistent, you guys. It's just been a lot going on, and I wouldn't say it has anything to do with makeup in general, but I feel like it's the pressure that I have to get on here to film makeup reviews and to constantly be spending money buying new makeup products. And I feel like I'm at this point where my makeup collection is literally ginormous, and I just want to get use of out of the stuff that I already have before I go and spend money on new things. I love reviewing new makeup products. I have like a passion for it, but I just feel like I need to use up the stuff that I have. And for some reason, I don't like filming with old stuff, if that makes any sense. I just feel like those type of videos don't get any views or any likes. So in today's video, we're going to be creating two different looks with the brand new Wet n Wild times Sesame Street eyeshadow palette. So here is what it looks like. So this was $17 at my Walmart. And then along with this eyeshadow palette, I picked up the Let's Play Together Complexion Trio. So this has two blushes and a highlighter, $9. Everything in this collection, you guys, was very, very expensive. Like there wasn't anything that was less than like $4 or $5. I did do a video while I was in Walmart showing all the products. So if I can figure out how to add that video, I'll add it right here so you guys can see everything that they had. They had so many items. And if I didn't already have a lot of the items in this collection, then I would have bought the whole thing, but I already have like 3 or 4 of the Wet n Wild collections. So a lot of the stuff that they already had at Walmart, I already have in my collection. And again, I don't want to waste money and I don't want to buy stuff that I'm not going to use. So I'll also be comparing 2 other palettes from Wet n Wild. We have the Wet n Wild times Peanuts collection. And then we also have the Wet n Wild times Stitch. So at the end, after I create 2 looks with this palette, we are going to compare these ones as well. And then I also have the SpongeBob palette, but it's probably in one of my drawers over there. And I have like 100 eyeshadow palettes buried on top of each other, so I can't find it. Okay, I've done a lot of talking, so let's go ahead and jump in with a part of this collection. For my bronzer today, I went in with the Wet n Wild times Stitch face palette. And you guys, this bronzer palette is fantastic. I use this all the time and I absolutely love it. And the shades from this palette honestly look very comparable to the new Sesame Street one. The only difference is this one has 4 and the new Sesame Street one has 2 bronzers and then a highlighter. Okay, so again, this is the Wet n Wild Let's Play Together Complexion Trio. So you get your 2 blush shades and then a highlighter. Do these have shade names? Okay, they do have shade names. So actually, they don't have shade names. It just tells you on the back which ones are blushes and which one is the highlighter. Okay, let's go ahead and swatch these really quick. Okay, so I'm first going to go in with the highlighting shade. So in the pan, it kind of looks dark, but as I put my finger in it, it's not as dark as it looks. Okay, it feels very, very creamy to the touch, but it's not like incredibly shimmery or sparkly on the hand. I don't even know if you guys can see that. It's like a really pretty soft glow. Now I'm going to take the middle pink shade. Like that within this palette, you get a pink blush and then a orange peachy blush. Ooh, that blush is super duper pigmented and also very soft and creamy. I don't know why I use the word creamy because they're not cream products. They just feel like that on my fingers. Now we're going to go ahead and swatch the last shade. Okay, so here is what the last shade looks like. I'm going to take my Real Techniques blush brush and I'm first going to go in with the center blush shade. Okay, my brush picked up a lot of product. Okay, so this definitely has a lot of pigment, so I'm just going in very light-handedly. I used to be like crazy for blush. If you guys go back and watch like any of my old videos, you will see I used to put so much blush on. And I'm not saying like I hate the way that looks, but now I just prefer like subtle blush. Okay, so there is what the really pinky shade looks like. And I do like it. I feel like it's really subtle, but I also feel like you could build it up. Now we're going to take the more orange shade. Ooh, I thought I would like the pink shade more, but I actually think I like this shade. It's a little bit softer, but again, I do feel like you could build it up. Oh yeah, this is really pretty. I like this a lot. I like them both. I feel like they would both go really good with certain types of looks. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab the highlighter. And I'm using this on a BH number 1 brush. So this is actually an eyeshadow brush, but I feel like it works really well for highlighter. Okay, so yeah, this is a really, really soft highlighter. Now I want to say that the highlighter in the bronzer trio, I think that was a little bit lighter than this one. Okay, now I can see it. Okay, it is very pretty. I can't really tell if it has more of like a pink glow or a golden glow. I think it actually has both. Yeah, like from the swatch, if I look at it at one angle, it looks more gold. And then if I turn my hand, it looks more pink. But it is really pretty. And I feel like this highlighter shade would match a lot of different skin tones. I'm going to add some right here on my Cupid's bow. So I'm also just adding some right here down the bridge of my nose about halfway. And right here on the tip. Now, typically I would go for something like really bright on my nose, but I mean, this works okay too. So overall, I really like the palette, and to get 2 blushes and a highlighter, I definitely think it's worth $8. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the eyeshadow palette now. And I mean, look how cute this is, you guys. I used to love Elmo when I was a kid. I've actually tried to play it for my daughter, and she doesn't like it as much as I did. Now, there's a lot of shades in here, and I really want to do 2 different looks, but my daughter has a concert tonight, and I don't want to go in there looking crazy with 2 different eye looks. Go ahead and see what we're working with, and then I'll decide if I'm going to do 2 looks or not. Wet n Wild's packaging, I swear, it drives me insane. For one, the packaging is very, very cheap plastic. Like, they're really hard to get open. And then another thing is right here on the backs, like I have so many palettes from Wet n Wild where the springs came out and they've just completely broke. Oh wow, you guys, this palette is very, very pretty. Here are what all the shades are going to look like. I feel like this is like a perfect spring to summer palette. I love the little pops of like pink and blue in there, but look at this beautiful orange here in the center. It has glitter in it. It's really, really pretty. So to prime the eyes, I'm going to take the Wet n Wild Incognito Concealer. I wonder if my bracelets are getting on your guys' nerves. I probably should take them off while I film. But look at this cool bracelet that I made, you guys. It is freaking awesome. So I did macrame knots with some fire cords, and I think it turned out beautiful. Let's go ahead in with the concealer now. So I think I'm just going to prime one eye for now. They had so many cute items in this collection. They had a big Elmo headband, and it was so freaking cute. I'm gonna go ahead and set down the lids with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Powder. In this collection, they also had a banana setting powder, and I think that was $5, so that was a pretty cheap price. Okay, so first I just want to go in with a transitional shade. The names for all of the shades are actually on the back, and sometimes that can be really confusing. So I'm guessing this would be one, and then I'm gonna take this shade, and this is gonna be called Since 1969. I'm taking this on a Sigma E40 blending brush. Okay, I'm just going to start running this all up around the crease area. So far, this is definitely more of like a soft shade. Doesn't have like a crazy amount of pigment, which honestly is kind of a good thing, especially if you're a beginner. That way you're not applying too much product and then it's hard to blend out. And also this shade doesn't have a lot of kick up. I know with a lot of other Wet n Wild palettes, they have like a lot of kick up. Okay, now I'm going to grab this shade right here, and this is called Street Smart. Switching brushes to the BH number 8 brush. This is from the Marble collection. Okay, and I'm going to start applying this like through the crease. Don't know if I want to bring it all the way in. Just kind of playing around with where I want this shade. Okay, I'm going to bring it all the way through the crease. Also going to stamp some right here along the outer V. So again, with this shade, it is pigmented, but it's not like overly pigmented. Like when I look at it in the pan, I'm thinking, ooh, this shade's gonna be dark, but it's actually not that dark. So far, so good. I'm really liking the blend on those 2 shades. In this palette, there is 6 matte shades, and there are 9 shimmer shades. One of the shimmer shades is more of like a matte shade, but it has glitter specks in it. Oh, you guys, I'm just now seeing this beautiful pink shade right here. Ooh, this is stunning. I think we're gonna have to use that on the lid. Okay, now I'm gonna take this really deep brown shade, and this is called Scrumptious. Okay, now this shade looked like it picked up a lot of product. I'm gonna go ahead and start applying this right here to the outer portion. Just picking up very little product at a time. So with this shade, I don't think I'm gonna bring it into the crease, but I am gonna bring it up just a little bit higher. Add a little bit more just to darken it up. I'm gonna go into the last shade called Street Smart, and I'm gonna go ahead and blend out this deeper shade. And then with no extra product, I'm gonna start blending this into the crease. Okay, so for now, I'm gonna leave this as is. We're gonna go ahead and add a shimmer shade or 2. There's 2 shimmer shades in the palette that I really wanna use that I think are super pretty. And one is this green one, and then the other one is this one right here. I'm just kind of stuck on which one I actually want to use for this eye look. Okay, so I'm going to grab the Morphe M124 brush. I'm going to grab the shade right here called Fairy Garden. So I'm going to start applying this on the inner portion. This is more of like a subtle shimmer shade. It doesn't have like much sparkle or glitter in it. So in the palette, we have a really dark brown shimmer shade, and I think I'm going to use that just to mesh these two together. So this shade is called Rock On. So I think this shade actually might be more of like a green shade. Let's go ahead and swatch. I want to see like how dark it is. So it's definitely way more of like a green shade than it is a brown. Just don't know how that will look up against the pink shade. I'm gonna go ahead and try to take this shade right here. This shade is called Be Awesome. And I'm just gonna apply this shade right here in the center. Okay, I think this shade actually works out way better and it looks really good. I like how they all mesh together. I'm gonna go back into that deep brown shade we used called Scrumptious. And then again, just kind of tap this out just to help blend everything. Look number one is complete, and honestly, this palette is performing way better than I expected. Although I prefer my shimmer shades to be like a little bit more sparkly, but these ones are really good for like more softer look. So I've decided I am going to go ahead and do two looks because I really want to use like these blue shades right here. So I'm going to go ahead, prime my eye off camera, and I'll be right back. First, going to start with the deep blue matte shade, and this is called Still Hungry. Exactly how I'm feeling right now. I just ate a bunch of donuts, but I'm still hungry. So I think I want to go in with like a small brush for this. I'm going to take the BH number 12 brush. This is also from the Marble collection. It's a really small kind of pointed brush. I'm going to start by applying this shade right here to the outer portion. And I'm going to put this directly into my crease. I have to try to hurry this up because my daughter had a 3-hour late start today. So that means she's only going to be in school for 4 hours. And I don't have much time left before I have to leave and go pick her up. So now that I have the dark blue placed, I'm also going to go back in with the dark blue. And I'm going to take the BH number 8 brush. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to pick up very little product. What I'm pretty much doing is using the blue shade twice. Once to make it really dark and then once to blend it out. Just going right along the edge here. Oh no, I'm starting to see some patchiness right there. Like, I feel like there's no other shades in this palette to be able to blend this blue out with. Like, I could use one of like the lighter tone browns, but I just don't know. So to blend it right at the very top, I'm going to go back in with this shade right here. And this is called Since 1969. And I'm just going to run this right up here. Let's go ahead and grab some shimmer shades now. So I know for sure I want to use the dark blue shimmer shade, but then I'm kind of debating on whether I want to use this one or not. I'm thinking that the deep blue shimmer shade might be a glitter. Okay, yeah, so it's definitely a glitter shade. Go ahead and swatch for you. I don't know, you guys. It's a very pretty shade. It's kind of like a purple blue, but the texture is very, very strange. I think I'm first going to go in with the green shade up top, and this is called Follow My Beat. And then maybe we'll go in with the dark blue shimmer as well, but let's try this one first. This is definitely more of a green, but I feel like up against the blue matte shade, it can pull a little bit more blue. So I feel like it does go pretty well together. Ooh, yeah, I love this green shade. This is really pretty. And I feel like this green shimmer shade could almost go with any matte in the palette as well. So I think for today's eye look, I'm just going to stay away from that blue glitter shade. I feel like this eye look, it's like simple, but it's still giving a pop of color. So it's not like extremely simple. I'm going to go back into the deep blue matte shade. And we're just going to go ahead and kind of tap this out. Okay, so both eye looks are done. Let's go ahead and do the lower lash line, then we'll do lashes and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to take this flat brush by Morphe. So it's a really thin flat brush, and I like to use it for the lower lash line. I'm just going to tuck this blue shade right up against my lash line, as close as I can get. And then I'm going to go back into the first neutral shade we used and just blend this out. So for the lower lash line on this side, I'm going to go back into the deep brown shade called Scrumptious, and then to Street Smart. First, going to tuck Scrumptious right up against the lash line. I'm going to go in with Street Smart and just try to blend this out. Okay, so here are both eyes before I do liner and lashes. So I'm going to go ahead, do liner, lashes, finish up the rest of my makeup, and then I'll be back with some swatches and my final thoughts. Okay guys, I went ahead and did a liner and mascara, and we're going to do lips on camera. So I got these new lip liners from Essence. I did a whole video on them and I love them. So I'm going to take the shade Silky Hazelnut. And then we're going to go over top of the gloss. This is from the Wet n Wild Time Stitch collection. This one is in the shade Got the Scoop. I'm going to fill in all of my lips with the lip liner. That way when the gloss wears off, I'll still have something on my lips. Such a pretty shade, and it smells really good. Ooh, that combo looks really pretty together. Let me go ahead and give you guys a close-up of both eye looks, and then we're going to go ahead and swatch the whole palette. Okay, so what do you guys think about these eye looks? I feel like they're two completely different eye looks, but I love them both. I feel like I would wear either one of these eye looks every single day. Even though I don't go for colorful looks all that often, I feel like this is something that's like colorful, but it's more of like a soft look, and I really, really like it. Okay, let's go ahead and swatch this palette now. So to swatch, I'm gonna go row by row. Once I have everything swatched, I'll come back and show you. So here is what all 15 shades look like swatched, and I really like that hot pink shimmer shade. So as far as swatches go, everything swatched really well. I wouldn't say these shades are like extremely pigmented, but again, that's kind of why I like Wet n Wild's palettes, is they're easy to like work with and blend out just because they're not like extremely pigmented. So before I have to go, I'm going to give you guys some comparisons with the other two palettes that I have from Wet n Wild. So the first palette we're going to compare is the Wet n Wild Time Stitch, and out of all of Wet n Wild's collections, this one has been my favorite. I just feel like this palette is very, very cohesive. So right off the bat, there's already one shade that is almost identical. See if I can find any other similar shades. Okay, so as far as similarities go, oops, try to put them next to each other. So I want to say that the deep brown one from the Lilo & Stitch one is the exact same as the deep brown one in this palette. And then also this shade right here and this shade right here are very similar. If you look very closely, there are definitely some similarities, but they're not identical. Also, as far as the glitter shades go, let's see if I can show you again. So the glitters are in the center of both palettes. They are very similar as well. Let me go ahead and swatch the shades that I think look very similar in each palette. Okay, yeah, so I feel like the glitter shades are almost identical. If you can look here on my fingers, they look very similar. I do have blue staining, but yeah, those glitter shades actually look almost the exact same once they're swatched. The only difference is the glitter from the Sesame palette has like bigger glitter specks, whereas the Lilo & Stitch one is like really small ones. Okay, here are the shades that I think were comparable. So all of the shades at the top are the Lilo & Stitch, and then all the ones at the bottom are the Sesame one. And as you can see, so there are there are 4 shades that are very, very similar, if not the exact same. I'm going to go ahead and put the Lilo & Stitch palette up, and we're going to compare the other palette that I have. The other palette is the Wet n Wild Times Peanuts collection. This launched around Christmas time. Is what this one looks like. Okay, so as I'm looking, these ones have pretty much no similarities. I mean, if you look at this shade right here, this is kind of like a bluish teal shade, whereas this one is more green. And then, okay, never mind. The hot pink shades, you guys, hot pink over here is very similar to that one. The pink shade from the Charlie Brown palette is definitely a lot more lighter, whereas from the Sesame palette, it's like a bright pink. But other than that, I feel like these palettes are really, really different. And again, like I said earlier in the video, I do have the SpongeBob palette, and I know that palette has some yellows and blues. So I think that one might be comparable as well, but I cannot find it right now, and I do apologize for that. So do I recommend this collection? I recommend this collection if you love a Sesame shirt. I do think the palette was really good and it performed really well, but I do think if you have other Wet n Wild palettes from like their collections, then I think you'll be able to find similar shades in those palettes that are in this palette. Overall rating on performance, I would definitely give it 10 out of 10 stars. I loved both eye looks. Everything blended out really well. The only thing I don't really love, and this is just like a me problem, is I want my shimmer shades to be like really like sparkly and glittery. I don't like glitters, but I like my shimmers to be a little more shimmery, whereas these I feel like are very like soft shimmers, which I don't mind wearing those once in a while, but if I'm going to do my makeup every single day, you better believe I'm going to use a glittery shimmer. I feel like we forgot about the blush palette for a minute, but this blush palette, you guys, is really, really good. And again, like I said in the beginning, you're getting 3 shades for $8. I think this is definitely worth it. Guys, so I don't have much more time. I got to get going, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please be sure to give this video a big old thumbs up and please subscribe if you haven't already. If there's anything at all that you guys want to see next, please let me know. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. For me, I just feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders because I was finally able to sit down and get a video film. But yeah, guys, other than that, if there's anything out that you guys want me to review, please let me know down in the comment section below. And I want to thank you guys for all of your support. Your guys' support means the world to me. And I have not forgot about the giveaway yet. I know I said that a couple videos ago, and once I have everything around, I will definitely be doing a giveaway. Yeah, guys, other than that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.